There are two big problems that can hit us as people who are building or maintaining smart homes. The first are networks, and those can be difficult. The other big problem can be power. The utility goes out, the power in your home is struggling, and your smart home kind of comes down around with it. So I wanted to grab one of these home battery backup solutions and see what we could do with them. Now today I have the Bluetti AC70, and we're going to go on a journey of discovery together. Let's give her. With a solution like this, what I was really hoping for was failover power. In the event of a power failure, there's not really a lot we've been able to do. Holy. Wait. If I'm being honest, I am one of the strongest people in the world, but that was not that heavy. Oh, it's like a boombox. I love that. This is a 768 watt hour battery backup. Here on the side, there is a simple plug-in port for AC power from your home. There's different models for different countries, so keep that in mind. If your power doesn't look like that, that's okay. What I was initially impressed with right here is there's a grounding pin. So you have grounding on this, but there's a grounding pin for your devices. You have to know how to wire that up, what kind of things to use just to be safe. But the other thing I'm noticing is there's a DC input here. So this is for a solar panel, for example, or the other accessory I'm going to show you. You can actually put this in a car. We get a number of accessories in here, but they're mostly cables. The first one is that AC charging cord. So all I do, open this up, plug this in. Now I'm ready to charge off of my home's power. This is just one of the options that you have. But let's plug it in and see what happens. Oh! It's charging. There was a fan there for a second. Now it's gone really quiet. Right away, the interface is showing us how much we're drawing off of the grid. And they do give you just a screw for that grounding pin. One of the things that I did not expect, but I'm really excited to see, is the correct certifications on these cables. Now, obviously, this is a power company, so they should get it right. But in today's day and age, most companies don't. So this cable, actually all of these cables, are stamped with a CSA certification. Americans, you're not going to care. CSA is Canadian, but what this does mean is this is correctly being sold in Canada with cables that are certified here in Canada. They have the correct ratings and those certifications. That's something I did not expect from these guys, and I love seeing that. And something that's missed so often. On the unit, not only do we have the AC input and the DC input, but we have the outputs. I have 4 USB ports. So there's 2 USB-C 100 watt ports and 2 USB-A 12 watt ports. The AC outputs, there's 2 of those full ports. One of the things that we have to test right now, I have to do this. We've got to put a bunch of things into this and see what happens while it's charging. It's pretty quiet. Pink cable. And I kind of expected nothing to happen because there's these buttons on the front that are DC and AC. So I'm going to press the AC one. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Oh, there's 15 watts. So it's showing me and it's charging at the same time. This system can go up to 1,000 watts, but there's a special mode, Bluetti told me, can get up to 2,000 watts running. So that'll be very interesting to see how that goes. That was the test for me. Can I charge at the same time as discharge?
That's what she said.
The answer is yes. Now let's plug in our phones. I've got a USB-A, very nice pink cable that I have for the ladies in my life. Okay, into an iPhone. And here's my Android phone. And that's a USB-C to USB-C. Now nothing's come on because I have to turn on the DC. And now I have readouts on the DC and the AC outputs. Very neat already. But here's where we're gonna do some of the testing of how this can help. Let's pretend the power goes out. We've got all these things on running. This is going to be charging from the grid or from your solar panels or even in the back of your car, and the power goes out. Did it go? It's still there. Did not change. Now that would have rebooted had we lost power. How sensitive is a device like that? Well, that's another discussion. We'll do some more testing here as we go. But that is a big deal. It failed over. And what that means is this is powering all of these devices from the battery. Okay, so it's isolated the input power from the output that's going out to our devices. Let's do some of the other tests. I'm gonna test this with smart home gear that is very sensitive, and I'm gonna see if I'm gonna blow anything up, but already fairly impressed with this. Let's go. I've left the AC70 running different parts of my home now for the balance of a week, and I did find some pretty interesting things out about it. Right now, it's running a lot of network looking equipment, and I apologize for the mess. We're still getting set up in here, but this is actually the heart of my smart home. I have so many hubs, all for testing purposes, but I also charge things like phones and tablets here. Now, the AC70 has been running this system for 2 days now. I've kept it connected to power because it would run out of power in about 5 hours, as all of this stuff takes about 100 watts. Now, what's impressed me is that this is very sensitive equipment. I'd be seeing outages on the hubs and likely my network too, but I haven't seen any issues. Now, I've also taken the power offline a number of times with this gear, with my PC and with things like fans, and I've never seen an impact to the device it's powering. My television continues to run, and these are tests that I expect many inexpensive battery backups would fail. But the more important aspect of the way this system has been built is that it's modular. So you can buy additional batteries and additional components and connect those in to the AC70. That means you can dip your toes in the water, so to speak, with something like this, and then if you need more capacity, go buy those additional batteries. The other thing that's really impressive about this is how you can charge it. There are all the different ways to charge this, and each one will have a different maximum charge rate. Bluetti says it's 45 minutes to go from 0 to 80% battery capacity, but I haven't seen this thing take over an hour and a half to fully charge. Those of you who have electric vehicles know that last little bit does take a little bit longer. So that's consistent with that because it's a big battery and they want to manage things like the heat in the right way. They're trying to keep it safe, and that's the last thing I want to talk to you about here in regards to how it's been powering my home. In my previous engineering life, I dealt with high amperage and high voltage electrical systems, and that meant we had a lot of battery systems as backups. I could tell you that the way they're managing this system takes into account a lot of the things that we did for safety in those industrial facilities. It's cool to the touch all the time. It's very quiet, and even the motor inside of the fan, that's quiet too. They've created good airflow through this when they need it. They don't need much airflow, and that's because of the materials being used in the battery. All of this is reminiscent of my days working with much larger systems, and so I felt comfortable having a battery this big in my home, and I'll feel comfortable adding more later. One of the hardest things to do is to run a heater. So I wanted to try this with a smart heater I have here. It runs at about 1300 to 1400 watts. Now what happens when we turn it on and we haven't put this in the proper mode? And by the way, I'm feeding my phone power right now. So this is going to be interesting. It's at about 800, 900, 1,000 watt output. It's at 1,200 watt output. And it tripped. That is a great test. That's great to see. It shouldn't output any more than the 1,000 watts for very long. So this has good protection on it. It tripped off and it's showing, hey, you know what? We ran into too much on the AC side of things, and but it's still charging my phone. Okay, I just turn that off, turn that back on, the power's back on. So it protects, but it doesn't lock you out. Very nice. One of the most interesting settings on this is called powerlifting mode. Now the way you enable this, you can enable it on the interface, but inside of the application, there's just this little toggle switch. You turn that on, and what you can do with that is you can run things up to 2,000 watts. So the normal limit is 1,000 watts, but what it says in the manual is resistive loads. Unfortunately, those can run out what's called the protection curve on this. So I'm gonna show you what happens, but right now, this is a really interesting thing. I'm drawing 1,100 watts from the grid from my charging source, okay? And I just have it in standard charging mode. I haven't even turned on turbo. When I turned on turbo, I could draw more. But now, with powerlifting mode on, I'm able to run, and I've seen this heater go up to about 1,100 watts. As long as I leave it in this lower mode, it can actually run this indefinitely, and that's what's going on. It's charging more from the grid than it's taking. So resistive loads, inductive loads, you gotta kind of look at that. It's gonna depend on the heater type. They mention things like kettles and electric blankets, things like that are not going to be so high initial current draw. So I know that's a little technical for you, but up to 2,000 watt resistive loads is pretty impressive, and I've been able to coax a little more out of a heater. So I'm impressed with that too. So I'm just shutting down this heater after the test, and I thought, you know, okay, maybe this thing heated up. But actually, even the side that kicks out a little hot air, it's not even hot, it's not even warm. This has been running really well. It's a little cool ambient-wise around here, so I'm not expecting a lot of heat, but there's none that has really come out of this, even as I've been trying to run kind of the input and the output. So I have EMF measurement here, okay? And I just wanted to see what was coming off of here from an EMF field standpoint. So the highest level I've found on this, even when other things are plugged in, I'm measuring along here, is about this, which is the AC power input. I went right up against this cable. This would be expected, and you'd find this on almost any power outlet with power at it. So nothing else has been coming off of here. I'm not seeing any other major sources anywhere on here. So this is well shielded. I'm not finding any problem spots, and that's really great. Now, before I even turn on my car, I want to see, I'm plugged in to the 12-volt charger, and what happens? Let's see if I can do this in the mirror. So my car's off. I've plugged into the 12-volt power here in my car, and my car has smartly not provided any power to this. So I could actually leave this connected using a 12-volt connection. Oh, I heard it click. Let's see. At about 110 watts, okay, that's gonna charge this thing in about 7 hours. So it's not a fast charging solution, but that's a pretty good option actually for driving around, getting a little extra out of your car without doing that full installation. Let's go for a little drive. Let's see what happens. See if things change. Sorry if you're shaking. Bacon. Woo! Good catch, I caught my camera. Here we go. There's a giant Santa at the end of my block. Power levels aren't changing at all. And you know, I'll check my battery, but I don't think anything is going on here in terms of battery power. So I think as long as your car turns off that 12 volt adapter in your car, I think you're going to be okay here. At least mine is. As soon as I turned off my car, it stopped charging. So, you know, I think that's a pretty good option for just grabbing a little extra power. Or if you're going to be camping for a day or something like that, that is so nice. You're probably going to be driving a few hours, so you'll be able to grab the excess power from your vehicle, and then when it turns off, just check that the battery is turned off. This is a great option. So here's an interesting thing. My charger at the back of the car here, it's a 12 volt charger, and it does go direct to the battery. This will drain the battery, so you've really got to check those inputs. But this is a great solution. Got this in the back instead of putting that in the front seat or even in the back seat. This is in the very back of your car. Obviously a lot better storage options, and you can even tie in to some of your hooks here. Just want to show you the application control. So I'm going to hit my devices. Now this panel has to be online when you tap on that. Now it's connecting through Bluetooth to the device. So we can see the power, okay, the power level on the battery. We can see that no power is flowing through this. But when I turn that on, there it went on, okay, and now we have flow through here. And look, now I'm charging. So now I'm going to turn on the AC output. There we go. And we're going to see these lights come on immediately. There it is. And now I have power flowing here. This display is a little behind, but otherwise very neat. Now let's turn on the power input. So I just turned on that. Here it comes, and it's coming from the grid. It knows it's grid power. Really neat, actually, the little bit of features you have in the app. You have some power savings. So if you are generating off of PV, so solar panels, then you'd be plugged into here, and we'd see that coming in, and we would have how much we've saved and how much CO2 we have reduced. Now, let's say we want to do a little more. We have some settings. Okay, so I can share the device out. I can adjust my carbon emission factor if I want to get different carbon there. And I can put this on the homepage display. So that's kind of nice to have. So here I am on the homepage now. And now I can tap to go directly in to my AC70 instead of going through that other mode. I can change the charging mode. Okay, so right now it's in standard, and we're grabbing 480 or so. I'm going to change it to silent, and now it's taken it down to 320 approximate watts there. Now I'm going to take it to turbo. So we've taken it to turbo. Now that's gone up. Ooh, 700, 800. It is charging pretty much at its maximum. We can put it to auto sleep on the display. Change that to 5 minutes if we'd like, and that'll leave the display on a little longer. And then power, lifting, and eco modes. So, you know, if you're going for 4 hours, you have an eco shutdown mode. Same on the DC side. So here's the AC output frequency. So this is where you could change to 50 hertz if you wanted to, which I thought was really cool. Grid self-adaptation. Charge normally even when the voltage on the electrical grid is unstable. Okay, so you can enable that. I've already shown you, you can charge through the AC port, you can charge through the solar panel, or even, using that 12 volt plug-in in your car. You can use all these different cables that you got, but there's a few accessories, a few different cables, and this accessory right here, this is the right way to put this in your car. It's going to have the most compatibility, and it's going to give you the fastest charge time. Now, I was doing some reading before on the Charger 1, that's what this is called. This will charge up to 6 times faster than just using this little port. The other reason you might want to look at something like this is a permanent installation. So if you want to take this around with you, you're going to be able to finalize things. The other reason is because when you install this versus just using this, it will monitor the health of your battery in your car. So it's not going to cause you to not be able to start your car one day. Lots of different little connection pieces. This looks a little bit daunting, but it actually isn't. So you open up right here. They've given us an Allen key, and you're going to basically open up these 2 ports. Okay. So you're going to unscrew, and then you're going to be putting in cables. Now they gave us one. I'll show you the diagram for what you're doing with this one. Here's the full diagram. And what you'll notice is you're connecting to your car's battery, then you're going into the charger here, and then you're going to go back from this into here into those this port. This is not that difficult of an installation process. The biggest difficulty is going to be running that cable through your car, coming through the dash, things like that. So get one of your friends who know what they're doing with cars to kind of help you out here. And what they did ask for was 20 centimeters on either side, all the sides here. So you're going to want to watch that, and then otherwise you really just put some screws in to get this to mount there. And otherwise you're making little connections, like these are generally for battery contacts there. You have some additional poles for inside of here if you ever have trouble with those. Otherwise, this is one of the additional ways to charge this up. It's going to be faster, safer, and it's a permanent installation, so you'll always have this available. That's going to be sitting in the back of your vehicle. And if you're someone who camps or you're always out, that's probably the right option for getting it installed. All right, you know what? Found some pretty different things out about Bluetti's AC70. And, you saw their charger here. It's a very different solution for charging up and then discharging and keeping things online in your home. So I've been pretty impressed with this device, and actually I see some uses for those of us in the future in our smart homes or right now. And these guys do have some pretty good deals on right now. They sent me some of their promotional deals for Black Friday, things like that. So you can check those out in the description down below if you're looking for something like this in your home, or you want to put it in your car like you saw with the Charger 1 there. So otherwise, guys, thanks for watching today. And of course, live smart.